What is going on, YouTube? This is iGameThat back to you for another Pokemon trading card game online video. And today I'm doing something a little different. I've tried to do this multiple times in the past, but I'm going to do a little bit of take on this today. For you guys is sort of a guide on how to build or what your deck structure should look like when you play Pokemon the TCG. So I'm not gonna be like doing a deck review video. I'm just telling you like the essentials basically of what you want to have in a very competitive deck. So today I'm going to be rebuilding my Gardevoir EX deck that I did a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and I feel like that deck is pretty strong, so I do want to emulate that for you. So first we're not going to talk with the Pokemon, we're going to look at the trainers first. Now trainers in the Pokemon TCG are really important, and mainly trainers do one thing. They are your drawing acceleration. Trainers are used so you can get more cards in your hand. I'm going to start off with the supporters of what we typically use. One of the most, you'll find this in every deck, and you'll find some of these in every deck, and I'm going to look first for N. You typically want to run a lot of N, and I don't see any. I think I typed it in wrong, but N is a really important card. There it is. You typically want to run 4 of these bad boys. N is a really good disruption card, and it is really good early game. You can get 6 brand new cards, and your opponent also has to get 6 brand new cards. So adding 4 of those is really good. Where's my other one? I know I have one more somewhere. There's one. So look, we got 4N. Perfect. Now we want to go into one of the professors. It really doesn't matter. Professor Sycamore and Professor Juniper are the same thing. I prefer Sycamore to Juniper. It's just you know, matter of what you like the most. So these are the cards you use for massive card acceleration, but again, supporters can only be used once per turn, and so that's why you want to move into another form of card acceleration, which is Ultra Ball. Now let's go ahead and read Ultra Ball for you, those of you who don't know what it is. You discard 2 cards from your hand and then you search for a Pokemon. This card is really good. The reason why this is really good is because you can literally discard 2 cards in your hand that you may not need, and you can find any Pokemon, which is how you do damage in the game. Of course, it's by, you know, getting a Pokemon on the field. So that's why we have Ultra Ball in this deck. So we're also going to be going into another type of trainer card, which is called your Ace Spec. Now you can only have 1 Ace Spec in your deck at a time, and I believe I only have 1 Ace Spec. I don't believe it yet. I don't have Dowsing Machine, which is the preferred, but Computer Search is also a really good one. You want to make sure you have either Computer Search is more common, but in this deck Dowsing Machine is a little bit better. So what Computer Search is basically like an Ultra Ball, but you can find any card. You can find energy, you can find a Pokemon, you can find another trainer, anything. That's what anything means. So you want to add one of those to your deck. We will be coming back to the trainers, but when you build a deck, these are the essentials. These are the backbones of your deck. 3 Ultra Ball, 4 N, and 4 Sycamore. Alright, let's move on to the energy side. Now typically, when you run a deck, you're going to want, depending on the type of your deck, not many decks run more than 3 types in their like the whole deck. Many only run 1 or 2. In my deck, I have 3 types: Psychic, Fire, and Fairy. Now the reason why I have 3 types, but I only need 1 type of energy card, and that is Fairy. And I'm going to add a whole lot of Fairy energy because that's how I do damage on my deck. If you saw my Gardevoir EX video, it's all damage based on how much Fairy energy you have. So, you know, 12 Fairy energy. You don't really want to go too heavy on the energy, because when I was first learning how to play the game, I did that, and then you just draw energy after energy after energy. And when you don't have card acceleration and all you do is draw energy, it's really frustrating. I'm actually gonna take one out because sometimes it's really annoying when all you're doing is drawing energy. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the Pokemon side. Now this is where we're going to get a little bit more in-depth to the deck, find the core strategy of when you build a deck. So, when you build a deck, most like any strategy, you want to form a core, a nice, solid core, and then you build other Pokemon around that depending on what you want them to do. Now my core, if you saw my Mega Gardevoir EX review video, is Xerneas, Mega Gardevoir EX, and Aromatisse. So, you want to get Xerneas first. Now, why is Xerneas good? Well, let's look at that. 130 HP, that's really good for a lead Pokemon. And specifically for this deck, Geomancy is a fantastic turn 2 option, because you can't go on turn 1. Choose 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a Fairy Energy card and attach to that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterward. This is one of the best energy accelerations in the current meta. So that's why we have Xerneas. And the 2 retreat cost. It looks bad at first, but when we get more in depth to the strategy, you'll see why running Xerneas even with the hefty retreat cost is not that bad of an idea. Alright, we also want to go into the Aromatisse, but the downside to Aromatisse is it is an evolution. So you do have to have a Spritzy, of course, because that's where Aromatisse evolves from. And then you're going to want your Aromatisse. You're going to want to have 2 of these, or even 3. I only run 2, but 3 is definitely an option. Now, why do I have Aromatisse? Well, for those of you who don't know, Fairy Transfer. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a Fairy Energy attached to one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. Like I was saying, Aromatisse is really good for energy acceleration because of the ability Fairy Transfer, and it was very well alive before Fairy decks, and so you commonly see Aromatisse in Kangaskhan decks, Mega Kangaskhan decks. But Aromatisse fits very well with the whole fairy theme, and so that's why I've included, Aromatisse in this deck, obvious. Now we want to go into our attackers. These are our, I'm going to nuke the opponent because that's my job. And so we're going to start off with the, with the Pokemon itself. My favorite Pokemon, to tell you, is Gardevoir. And so that's why that's why I wanted to build this deck so badly. So, 3 Gardevoir. Now you may be wondering, Michael, why aren't you running 4? You want the most possible, right? Well, this is where you kind of go into what is more efficient. Having 4 Gardevoir can be a real hassle, especially when you need to share the bench space. You don't really want all 3 of your Gardevoir on the bench at one time. And you don't really want 4 in your deck because, if you have 4 Gardevoir EX, that means you have to have 4 Mega Gardevoir EX. That means you have to have 4 Spirit Links. That's 12 cards you have to dedicate to just Mega Gardevoir. And even though I love it that much, I can't dedicate 12 out of 60. That's 1/5 of the whole deck just so I can get some of these in play. But if you have 3, that really does trim it out some. You have 3 Gardevoirs, 3 Mega Gardevoirs, and 3 Spirit Links. Beautiful, done, share the resources, boom. And so that's why we have 3, that's why we have 3 in there. Now we're going to go on to the cards that really do love energy acceleration. Now, when you have a card like this, Mega Gardevoir EX, that's the same type as Aromatisse, that's the same type as Xerneas, they all have the same weakness. Now you need something to cover that weakness, or else you're just going to be torn apart. Now, you can opt on the situation, you can opt on the structure to where you don't cover your weaknesses, so you can put more resources into Gardevoir so you can nuke the opponent, meaning you put another Gardevoir, another Mega Gardevoir EX, and another Spirit Link. Or you can just say, I can't beat Steel decks. I can't do it. I can't beat Genesect Verizon. They set up way too fast. I just can't do it. But you can if you do cover your weaknesses with cards that do love energy acceleration. So we're going to go into the first one. Mewtwo EX is a really, really good Pokemon for energy acceleration. You can run 1, you can run 2, depends on really how you want to structure this deck. But again, X-Ball, you can just move all of your energy with Aromatisse for X-Ball to do a lot of damage. If you look at my Mega Gardevoir EX deck video that I actually did specifically about this deck, I was able to knock out a Mega Blastoise who had a Hard Charm on it. with Mewtwo in one turn just by like taking all of my energy and putting it onto Mewtwo. Now you don't really want to do that, but there was no way he could knock me out the next turn, so I did it. So Mewtwo really does love energy acceleration, that's why he is in this deck. Next, we need to cover Genesect, Virizion, and Steel decks. Now, how are we going to do that with a card without running any fire energy? And you've already guessed it, Reshiram. Reshiram is a really, really good Pokemon. You can send out Reshiram, take some hits, 130 HP again, like Xerneas, that 130 HP. But it does have a different weakness, which you can cover with your other Pokemon, and you can use Outrage to help counter the Steel decks. Well, more or less help check Steel decks, but you know what I mean. So that's why Reshiram is in this deck. Mega Aggron is a really, really bulky Pokemon, and it can one-hit KO Gardevoir. That's why we need to have Reshiram in the deck. Now that we have our core, we need to develop the trainers that help synergize with the core. Like I said earlier, Gardevoir's Spirit Link. Now, for those of you who are not very familiar with what a Spirit Link is, they've only been out for 2 sets. But what a Spirit Link is if you attach it to a Pokemon that can Mega Evolve, and you Mega Evolve, you don't lose your turn. Now, when you lose your turn, that means you can't attack. And not being able to attack for a turn, or losing your turn, is really detrimental to, you know, your whole strategy. That's why Mega Evolutions were not as popular until the last set, Phantom Forces. Now, again, this may seem stupid of me to say, but why do we have these Spirit Links? Mainly so we can keep up our momentum. Because, again, losing momentum by ending our turn is really, really bad. And if you do hear my dog in the background, I am sorry. But that's why we have the Spirit Links in here. Now, alright, sorry about the quick pause. The dog wanted to go outside. Well, like I was saying, there's a nice little thing that Fairy Energy Acceleration decks have going for it, and that is Fairy Garden. Now, Fairy Garden, if you have Fairy Energy attached to you, you have no retreat cost. And I cannot nail it on the head as much as me screaming about how awesome this is. Having no retreat cost for just simply having energy attached is huge. It's a monumental asset for you if you're running a Fairy Acceleration deck like this. This card is wonderful. You can do so much with a card like this. That's why I was talking about how, in the end, the 2 retreat costs on Xerneas is not that bad. The retreat cost on Reshiram, 2 retreat costs, not that bad. And the retreat cost on Mewtwo, 2 retreat costs. And 2 retreat costs on Mega Gardevoir. And I believe 2 on Aromatisse. Yeah. Retreat is not really a problem, and you don't have to waste your item slot on your Pokemon for that. All of these Pokemon are going to have energy on it. All of them. Once you get this wheel churning, you're going to have free acceleration. Free acceleration, free retreat, sorry. Now you want to have 2 or 3. You want to run more than just like 1 or 2, which I have, just so you can counter, you know, Vubank City Gym, but I only have 2, so that's what we're working with. Now, we want to go into another thing that Fairy Energy Acceleration decks with Aromatisse have going for it, and that is with the card Max Potion. Now, Max Potion is you heal all damage from one of your Pokemon, and then you have to discard the energy attached to the Pokemon. Normally, you'd be like, well, why would I do that? My Mewtwo's got, you know, 180 health, and I just want to heal all the damage off of it, but I don't want to lose the energy. Like, why would I use this card? And I'll tell you why you can use this card and how you can use this card. Why, obviously, so you can get the damage off, but how you can use this card, it's 170, not 180, I'm sorry, is with the Aromatisse. It's really easy. Anytime during your turn, you can move Fairy Energy. So, Mewtwo's up. It's got 20 HP remaining. You really want to get it healed? Well, you take all the energy off. You put it on anything on the bench, and then you heal the Pokemon, put it back on, and then you attack the opponent. It's really, really good, and that's why these decks usually run Dazzling Machines, so you can get another. So that's how you can get another Max Potion. But again, I'm only running 2. You can run 3 if you want, and I'm running Computer Search. I believe Computer Search, Dazzling Machine are really interchangeable. Next, we want to go for another type of item card and that is one that I really like. It is Tool Retriever. Now, normally you see Tool Scrapper. You don't really see, or Tool, Startling Megaphone. You don't really see this often. But you can choose up to 2 Pokemon tool cards attached to your Pokemon and put them in your hand. Now, why is this good? Why would I want to do that? I like the tool cards in my Pokemon, right? Well, after you Mega Evolve your Gardevoir, this Spirit Link is really useless for that Mega Gardevoir. You can use it again, however, by retrieving it, putting it in your hand, and then putting it on the Gardevoir on the bench. Now, Startling Megaphone is usually better, and Tool Scrapper is usually better. I'm not too sure what the legal rules about Tool Scrapper are. I think it's legal. I need to do more research, but I'm really liking Tool Scrapper right now, and then with an addition of Startling Megaphone. These are really, really good cards. They, especially for Garbodor. Oh my god, Garbodor's annoying. Garbodor is one of your like massive Pokemon you hate with this deck, just like most decks in the current TCG format. It's because Garbodor's ability, if you put a Garbotoxin, I did a video about this like 2 years ago. If you put a tool card on one of your Pokemon on Garbodor, then nobody has an ability. Nobody. That's so annoying. So you don't want to be caught by that. That's why, you know, you have Starting Megaphone, so you can get rid of the freaking item on Garbodor. I almost said, they sort of sound and end with the same consonants, and so sometimes it's, you know, hard. But whatever, not gonna go into that. And so this is essentially what your tool situation is going to look like. Now, I completely forgot on some of the trainer cards, and the next one we're gonna look at is Professor's Letter. You want to have 2 of these in your deck. Why? Search for 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. Like, you can get 4, you can get, like, if you use both of these in the same turn and use Geomancy, you have 6 energy on the field. That's 180 damage from Gardevoir. Like, what? That you can literally in one turn knock out an EX. One turn. So completely necessary to a deck like this. Now again, I'm sorry, I forgot another one of the draw cards that you like to have in your deck. Because you're playing with a full bench, Colress is a really, really nice card you want to have, and you want to have, you know, 4 of them. Again, 4, 4, 4. These cards are really, really important when you read it for you. Shuffle your hand in your deck, then draw a number equal to the number of bench Pokemon. So if you're playing with a full bench, 5, they're playing with like half bench, 3, you're drawing 8 cards, which is better than N always, and better than Sycamore. So you really gotta look at it. Chorus is a really, really nice card acceleration, especially when you want to have a full bench. The next type of trainer card you want to have is fairly common, Muscle Band. You want to keep around 2 of these, 2 or 3 of these. I'm going to put 3, and this, the attached to the Pokemon this card is attached to do 20 more damage. That's really nice. It helps score some essential KOs. That's why you want to have that in there. And another very, very important card is Versus Seeker. There's a reprint of a card, but play a supporter card from your discard pile. Really, really good card. I'm going to put all 3 of mine in there. And so what you're left with is 58 cards. When you usually have 2 cards left, you've usually got all of your deck pretty much built. 2 cards is left for you for room for error. You can put in 2 extra cards and put in 2 extra support Pokemon. You can put in 2 extra trainers, you know, like another Megaphone, another Retriever, do another Ultra Ball, you can do a couple more energy. So really, you can do whatever you want. With any deck, you're typically gonna have a couple of these left. For me, what do I want to do? Let's add another support Pokemon. Let's add Florges EX. Again, Steel type with 2 energy retreat cost, and weak to steel, but it is covered. Why would I have this? Well, Bright Garden obviously does 20 times the number of grass and fairy Pokemon you have in play, and lead, search for a support card and reveal it, and I'm left with one. I think I'm gonna add another fairy. So look at that, we have 60 cards in the deck. Beautiful. Now let's do a quick recapitulation of what you want to have in a deck. This is like the bare bones structure. You want to have your drawing supporter cards, Colress and Professor Sycamore. Next, you want to have a solid core in which you can get energy acceleration and you can do damage. Like I said, Xerneas, Aromatisse, and Gardevoir. Really, really important. Next, you want to have the energy that fits your core, in this case, 12 Fairy Energy. And then you want to have the trainer cards that help back you up. Computer Search is a staple. Max Potion goes along with the core very well. Professor's Letter goes along with the theme of energy acceleration. Starting Megaphone, Tool Retriever, Ultra Ball, Versus Seeker, etc., etc. Fairy Guarded, Gardevoir Spirit Link, Muscle Band. You know, they all help you. They all help you in order to do more damage like that. Quick. And then you want to have your support Pokemon. Florges for support, Reshiram and Mewtwo for coverage. Now that's basically how you build a deck of the Pokemon TCG. Now, decks are always changing, strategies are always changing. That's what makes this game fun. If I left something out, please do leave it in the comment section below. If you did like this video, please do leave a like. Make sure you subscribe so you can get more TCGO videos, and I'll see you guys next video. Goodbye.